Welcome to Audiology Talk. My name is Laura Prigge.
And my name is Tony Lombardo. We are audiologists with Grason-Stadler, and today we are excited to talk to you about the GSI Pello Firmware version 2.5 configuration application.
So the configuration application is a really cool companion software program that is not required to run the actual instrument, but it is designed to let you set up your preferences. So you're able to customize a lot of different startup and test type things inside of your Pello for when you are testing to make it more streamlined, convenient, and efficient. Let's take a look.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so let's take a look at the Pello Config app. Laura, what is the very first thing that you always do with the Config app?
So the very first thing that you do with the Config app, no matter what, is you push upload. Now upload, all of these little menu items on the top have been the same from all of the different versions of the configuration application. And not only just with the Pello, but with the TimpStar Pro, with the AudioStar Pro, every GSI audiometer or tympanometer or equipment that has a configuration application, upload is the first thing you do. Now, we like to laugh and joke because upload and download can be real tricky, but the way we think about it is when you press upload, you're sucking the settings from the instrument up to the computer.
Right. So we're bringing those settings in. You're getting a snapshot of what the settings are currently on the device. So like when you open up the Config app, it's just in a default view. So we want to bring the settings that are currently on the device into the software so that we can make changes to it.
And this really prevents any accidental overriding. So, like Tony said, it's in a default state. So if you have custom settings on your Pello and you make changes in the Config app first and download that to the instrument, you will erase any of the customization that was already there. So upload is the best rule of thumb ever. Yep. The other thing I want to mention about this particular Config app is it's gotten a facelift.
Yeah.
It is now a little bit more consistent with the other GSI product configuration applications. And so we have two different, it's more like a hierarchical tree over here on the left, or an outline. So we have the instrument section and the audiometry section. Still all the same elements, just in a little bit different of a format.
So let's begin with the instrument tab. Let's go to setup. So setup, we have a couple options for date format, for time format, and then of course our display languages. Usually, you will set that the very first time that you use the device and not have to worry about it from that point forward. When we move on to facility, this is where we're going to start entering information in if we are going to be doing direct printing from the device. So if you bought a printer with the Pello and you want to print directly from the device, or if you're using a thumb drive and printing directly to a PDF, here's where you want to fill in your facility information. If you want to add your logo, you can add that to it so that when the report prints, it's customized and has your information on it. The printing tab is going to just give you your options for, page size, the color that you're going to be using, if you're going to be using color or grayscale. And then the very last option that you would have would be for your speech plus, for your speech print mode. So you've got your table, your graph, or your graph with rollover.
The other thing that we have on this instrument setup is the actual security. So if you want to, you can have examiner and password required to enter the actual testing on the Pello itself. So when you turn it on, you push data erase clear session, it will pop up and say log in if you are this examiner or that examiner, and you can put in password protected entry into the Pello instrument.
So yeah, basically everything under instrument is going to be our setting up of the device, kind of our global settings for language, for printing, that kind of thing. But when it comes to testing and how we're going to manage those preferences, we're going to go into the audiometry tab, and we'll start with general. What do we have, Laura?
So general is going to be basically your startup information. So do you want to start in the speech screen? Do you want to start in pure tone? How do you want the graph to look? Do you want to use colored symbols on your sound field? Where are you putting the bone oscillator? Is it on the mastoid or the forehead? And do you want to connect those symbols? Additionally, we do have a new feature on the Pello Firmware version 2.5, which is a weighted PTA or pure tone average option. So if you would like to use a weighted PTA, you can certainly define that and set that up in the general section of this configuration application. We also have reliability. We have plugged in good, fair, poor. Those are the typical ones we use, but sometimes people use other ones, and so you can customize that here as well. When we move to the tone screen, we have things that are very specific to tone test type. So do you want to look at the pure tone display as an audiogram or a table? Where do you want to start? Which frequency? If you're using the high frequency phones, if you're using the full frequency layout, or if you're using just the standard frequency, where's your starting point? We also have some signal modification options, so you can make this steady warble tone, pulse tone. If you have the special test license, you can use pediatric noise as well. So you can define your signal modifications and also what you want to start with on channel 1 and channel 2. We also have an option for auto frequency advance. So if you want to set it up to advance automatically when you press the store button, you can set your frequency order there. There have been some exciting changes on speech, Tony.
Yeah, absolutely. This is something that we're really excited about, which is the addition of more autoplay options with the Pello version, firmware version 2.5. So those include things like you can set your defaults here, but you can also change them on the device. But for things like wait for score, time expire correct, time expire incorrect, or time expire no store, those options are all available to you. How much time you want between each of the different presentations. I would say keeping that as a lower number just in general is going to be helpful for you. And then you also have a really cool new feature, which is the autoplay word limit. And this allows us to set both custom values, or we can select from one of the few that we have selected. So I think we have 25, 10,
50.
and 50. So there are a few options there, but of course you can define how many words you want it to play automatically before it stops.
The next thing is we do have wordless favorites. So as we mentioned all the time, actually, we have like 150 or even more word lists that are already recorded and implemented inside of your Pello audiometer. So from the word list tab, you can go through and select the ones that you use most frequently so that you don't have to dig through and find the word list that you're looking for. So you can select the CD, you can select the track, you assign it a test type, and then you add it to the favorite list, and then those favorites will be accessed on the Pello itself.
Yeah, so basically when you're on the device then, so when you're choosing your different test types, the list that you have chosen will show up in that favorites dropdown, and then easy access to them.
And then the last one is the normative values. And this is if you're using a speech audiogram, you can enter different values and it will create curves on the speech audiogram. When you are finished with all of your settings that you have combined in the configuration app between the instrument and audiometry, the final step is to push
download.
Push download.
Yes.
Download is going to send that data into the instrument, and then you can hit data erase clear session. That's a change in firmware version 2.5, and that will implement the new changes.
Yeah.
If you have more than one Pello and you would like to move this custom configuration around from device to device, you can hit the save button and save the actual configuration. And with the new Pello version 2.5, you can update from a USB. So you can actually save that configuration to a USB and update that way.
Right. And so that's one point where we just want to be really clear. You don't have to save the file when you're using it on the Pello, for the Pello. You just hit download, that saves the device. You can close it from there. And saving, of course, is just for saving that file itself.
Exactly. So this has just been a quick overview of the new updates on the configuration application for the Pello Firmware version 2.5. And if you want to learn more about that, you can check out our Audiology Online webinar. You can check out our website and keep your eye on our social media.